Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of Tea Time Minis. I am Sharissa Bradley, and I wanted to share two of my very favorite things, and that is telling people what I've learned and watercolor painting. So today I'm going to paint a pack of birthday cards for my husband's aunt, and we're going to send them to her today because her birthday is next week, and I thought I would let you join me for what I would do. So as I'm painting, I want to share a topic with you and a little bit about self-love. This series, you can expect to hear things that you would hear normally on my podcast, but just a very miniature version of that, maybe 5 minutes or less. And instead of just hearing my voice, now you're gonna watch me do a little project at the same time. This way I can do both of my favorite things at once while my kids are giving me the time. Yay! So I'm going to paint a pack of 5 cards, and that she could use to send out to her friends. So a birthday card, thank you note, maybe some flower cards, maybe something. Who knows? We'll see what comes up. We'll see what pops up as we go. And like I mentioned, I want to talk a little bit about self-love. And what does that mean, and what does that look like when we're actually taking a logistical perspective, and how can we show ourselves love, self-love, show our self-love. And today I feel like a prime example for me is that my body is feeling very uncomfortable today. I just feel like kind of one of those days where you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or you just kind of have like a mood that just doesn't really go away. And my immediate reaction is that I really don't like feeling like this. It bothers me because I feel like I've risen above it, right? I don't need to have bad moods anymore. Like, how old am I? I don't need to have temper tantrums. I feel like that's not what being an adult is all about. But when I really sat and thought with myself and gave myself that attention, gave myself love, and asked my body, what is it exactly that I'm feeling? Because I'm frustrated and I'm feeling agitated and lonely and all these kind of weird things that don't really match my environment, and it's frustrating to me. And that frustration, that part that's like, I'm so mad at everything and everyone, that's actually the part that I'm really frustrated with. Because as I've grown up, as I've gotten older, as I read all these books or whatever, I learned that in order to have love for myself, self-love, I actually have to be okay being in a bad mood and being a little bit grumpy, and recognizing like I'm a human being, and maybe I am having a soul experience, and maybe I am connected in other ways, but I'm also a human being, sort of limited by my senses and my emotions and my emotional experience. And as much as I want to just shut all that crap down because I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to be sitting in a place that feels uncomfortable. I don't like the way my body feels when I'm mad or agitated or angry, and it frustrates me. It's like this whole other layer of it. But really the point of self-love is to recognize that it's okay for me to be frustrated. It's okay for me to wake up on the wrong side of the bed, and it's okay for me to recognize that maybe I just haven't been getting enough sleep. Maybe I just haven't been getting enough calories or enough water. I think it might have something to do with minerals. But the point is that in order to have love for myself, in order to build a relationship of trust with myself, I actually have to learn how to be present in those moments that I don't love and that don't feel good and that are super uncomfortable. And what I mean by that discomfort is that when we're sitting like mad or angry at ourselves for being mad or angry. So it's that additional component of not just the anger for ourselves or for the situation or whatever it is that's going on in our lives, or just the world at large, because I think as human beings existing in a post or concurrent pandemic population, it's really easy to get caught up in all of that, to be angry, to feel all of those frustrations. and then to want to disconnect from it, to hide on our phones, to hide in whatever it is. John asked me last night, where is all this manic energy coming from? And at first I was super offended. I was like, why would you ask me that? Why would you say that I'm being manic right now? What I recognized almost immediately was that I was actually hiding, and still am really, from my emotions and my emotional state because it's so uncomfortable. And if you listen to my podcast a couple, episodes back, I called it all of my hiding places. And what I mean by hiding places is all the places I go when I don't want to be present. So binge watching TV, Netflix, cookies, whatever it may be. For me lately, it's been social media. Like I just look on my phone and I keep going like, why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? And the reason I'm here is because I was trying to disconnect, trying to disassociate from all the feelings that I was having. And gosh, when I tune in, it isn't really great. Like I honestly, the second I allow myself to be present in my body and feel what my body is feeling and feel what the world is feeling, I just like immediately start crying. It's awful right now. Things are hard and painful, and it's the holiday season, and I don't get to see any of my family, and things are just all up in the air, like for everybody. So it's really easy to want to disconnect from our feelings, from our emotions, from all of the trauma that's happening inside of our bodies. For me, it's so uncomfortable. It makes my hands shaky. It makes my heart hurt. Like, it's just uncomfortable. And I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it anymore. And so I sit in my room and I think like, why do I have to feel this way? Why do I have to feel like this? And the answer is because I keep denying myself my emotions, and then they just kind of sit there and they just kind of wait, and they wait and wait and wait until you're ready to feel them. And unfortunately, if you just push it off too far, like I have been doing, it just sort of shows up whenever it is time to be healed, whenever it is time to reintegrate the things that are asking to be reintegrated inside of my body. It's so uncomfortable. But self-love is actually showing up for myself when I'm feeling those feelings without so much judgment, without so much disdain for myself. It's like I'm mad at myself for having feelings. And it's interesting because I can remember my family, my mother, my father, and other people in my life, all my life, being also mad at me for having feelings. Like, I can't believe you're crying, or you have nothing to cry about, or I'll give you something to cry about if you don't stop crying. So we just didn't get an opportunity to feel. I didn't get an opportunity to feel those emotions. They're coming back now and they're asking to be felt. And it's kind of like I don't really have a choice in the matter. But my body specifically is asking me to show up for myself, build trust, build a new relationship, and that is actually self-love. So, as uncomfortable as I am and as shaky as my hands are today, I am doing my best to show up for myself, be present in my discomfort, because let me tell you, it is very uncomfortable. And I'm hopeful that my body will continue to believe me when I say I love you and I want to be present. And even though it is hard and it feels so crummy and crappy, I still want to be here, and I still want to experience all that I get to experience by being here on this planet. And by switching myself into that mode of gratitude and feeling a little bit of tiny bit of peace, because I stopped hating myself, because it's like self-hatred when you're telling yourself you're bad for having emotions. So instead, I'm saying, kind of sucks because it feels so uncomfortable. However, I am really grateful that I am showing up for myself. Brene Brown, who I love, just came out with a new book. She talked a couple years ago, 10 years ago maybe, I don't know, about marble jar friendships and how to build a marble jar friendship. She was actually talking in regards to her daughter and how her daughter had been betrayed by a friend. And she was like, I'll never have any friends again. And her mom, Brene Brown, was like, no, friendships are like marble jars. And each time we do something that builds the trust, sometimes we mess up completely, and that's okay too. Sometimes we build that trust with ourselves every time we get a chance to actually show up. We get to add a marble to the jar, and that's being a marble jar friendship. Being a marble jar friendship with yourself. Brene Brown talks about it with other friendships and building the relationships and building the trust. But I would like to take it a step further and say that the most important marble jar friendship that we have is actually with ourselves. And the only way we're ever going to build that trust, a new relationship with ourselves, is to kind of keep adding those marbles to the jars, even though it feels so uncomfortable at times. That's what I have for you today. I messed up my birthday card. I'm going to have to start all over, but it was still nice sharing this moment with you. And thank you for letting me get a chance to practice. Have a great day.